Hello everyone, this is Tabor Talk. So it just stopped raining. This is my first video today. Today is Sunday, August 18th, and I'm gonna do, I got a bunch of videos lined up. This will be the first. I was gonna start out with actually some comments I had here on my post. Let me just go back here. Gnostic initiation and near-death experience. I had a reply. I posted it. Was actually, I don't do names here, but someone who actually texted me personally, who was actually the person I was talking about, that Gnostic initiation. But he just wanted to clarify, and I posted his full reply. I don't take things out of context. I want to be clear on that. But he did say, let me just see here, that it wasn't a trance-like state, but an ongoing seeking and conversation with the Lord. Now here's where I'll just address this via scriptural meditation, intercession, and liturgical participation. So the couple of things where strike. The intercession, not a good idea. To believe in that, and I actually posted something there. And then liturgical participation, scriptural meditation. I mean, and I actually responded here. I posted something about Gnosticism, right? And I said here, the problem with believing in intercession is that it never works, or almost never, right? So there is some truth to placebo effect or spontaneous remission with certain cancers for sure. But I mean, if you have some end stage, some horrible end stage ALS, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. And do you want to be disappointed? Or I even put here, an amputee will not grow legs despite your prayers. So I want to, I'll talk a little bit more about this in a later video, but I just want to get back to like the problem with scripture. And I talked about the Bible. I've read the whole thing. There are exceptions. There are some parts that I have not, some parts of Leviticus and Numbers, but basically the Old Testament and the New Testament. 39 books in the Old Testament and the 27 in the New. So from Genesis to Revelation. Now, when you talk about drawing inspiration from Scripture and all that, it's like if you read the Bible, I don't know. Certainly there are parts, perhaps, but let me just, this is something I found on the internet now, and this is kind of funny, and I'm just going to go through this. And this is the truth. I mean, he's a comedian, sort of, but he's not bullshitting. And here's the title: God's 12 biggest dick moves in the Old Testament. All right, so this is hilarious. You could probably just, I'll just go through this real quick. So he says, before Jesus arrived and his divine father chilled out, the Old Testament God was ironically kind of a hellraiser. He was not a nice guy. He really liked killing people, and he may have actually been insane. If his willingness to randomly murder devout worshippers like Moses was any indication, here are the 12 craziest, most awful things God did in the Old Testament. Back before that whacked out hippie Jesus softened him up. I'll go a little too far. I love Jesus, by the way. All right, so I want to make this clear. I'm a Jesus guy. I'm a universalist. I embrace all these religions. I know there's wackiness here, but I talked about this before, like sending bears to murder children. Here it is. Here's the prophet. So a guy named Eliseus, is that how you pronounce it, was traveling to Bethel with a bunch of kids when a bunch of kids popped up and made fun of him for being bald. That had to suck. And you can't blame Eliseus for being fucking pissed off, cursing him to God. But God had Eliseus's back. By which I mean he sent 2 bears to maul 42 of these kids to death. I talked about that. That's insane. That's a crazy story. So you're gonna draw inspiration from this? It's crazy, right? So turning Lot's wife to salt. I'm not going to read this. We all know the story about that. Lot or his wife turned around, and there you go. Let me just say here. Most folks know about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. 2 cities of sin. God decided to kill everyone instead of, like making them not full of sin. Exactly. So, but this was a town that when 2 angels were staying at Lot's place, gathered en masse and asked if they could rape them. I repeat, the angels wanted They wanted to rape the angels. It's insane. Like, you read that story. When I read it, I was like, what? Like, this was years ago, the first time. I go, wait a minute. These guys want to rape angels? It's such crazy shit, you know? So Lot and his family were sent from the city before things went down, blah, blah. We know the story. Go read it. It's better going there. Hating ugly people. And what should be good news for intolerant religious conservatives, God really does hate people who are different from the norm. Of course, God isn't as worried about skin color or sexual orientation as he is about whether you're ugly or not. Because if you're ugly, you can just go worship some other god, okay? Even though God will punish you if you do, and also, they don't exist. Here we go. So here's the people God does not want coming into his churches. All right, he's kind of has a humorous spin here, but this is all true, people. Listen, people with blemishes, blind people, the lame, those with flat noses, dwarfs, people with scurvy, people with bad eyes, people with bad skin, and on and on. So, I mean, you get the point. I go on and try this, trying to kill Moses. There's just so much here. The genocide and ordering his underlings to kill their own children, killing Egyptian babies, killing a dude for not making more babies, helping Samson murder people to pay off a bet. That was the weird one. Jacob wrestling, trying to wrestle a guy cheating and still losing. Oh my God. All right, so here, I'm going to leave you with this. Let me just go on Google here. I'm going to leave you with a Richard Dawkins quote. So, by the way, I'm just having fun with this. You know, I'm a universalist, and I love some of the stuff in the Bible, of course. Let's see here. Here's the Richard Dawkins quote on the Old Testament God. But you gotta be real. You know, I mean, you gotta read this stuff. You know, all right. So this is amazing. I love this. So quote by Richard Dawkins, and I posted this before, I believe, on social media, Facebook. This is classic. The God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction. Jealous and proud of it. A petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak. A vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser. A misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully. And you go, whoa, that's pretty outrageous, but it's all true. So, all right, people. I'm not suggesting that you don't read the Bible, or perhaps you could derive some good things from it, but that's the way it is. All right, Tabor Talk. Have a great night, everyone.